Hi, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a stocks to watch video. Today is February 21st, 2021. Before we get started, this video is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security, and I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Also, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I really do appreciate that. You can also find me on Twitter at AlphaCharts365. All right, so let's start with a really quick review of the Qs. As you can see, I've been watching the 23-day EMA. Really only one violation of it all the way since November. So it's been real strong, just riding up the moving average, keeps checking back to it multiple times, and so far every time it checks back or gets close to checking back to it, it holds just fine. So I think the market is healthy, it's bullish. There is no signs yet of any trouble in the market. So that being said, let's look at some potential setups. Now, before we get started into these setups, let's also make sure you're aware of when earnings are. I will do my best to point out which ones have earnings close by and soon. Many of these names do have earnings within the next 2 weeks or so. So again, just be aware of that, okay? So here we go. First one is going to be DocuSign. All right, so DocuSign had a gigantic move higher, right? And then it just kind of consolidated, but very slowly making really higher lows and higher highs, right? So it's just kind of stair-stepping higher, and now it's breaking out of this, what I think is an important area, and trying to really start to curl back up again. So I think DocuSign has a lot of potential, and a few weeks until earnings. Chewy is next. Here's Chewy. Just again, beautiful uptrend. 23-day EMA has held beautifully. Lots of good accumulation going on here. Lots of time until earnings, and now you have this little VCP type action going on here. This one looks like it wants to move into the next level higher. SLQT, select quote. That's one of my favorites. It's breaking out here, but if you notice the volume's a little bit lower, and it's extended from its moving average. I mean, it just moved from $21 to $30. So basically, it just did a 50% move. What am I looking for in something like this? I want to see this fail, come back, and then maybe hold the 23-day, maybe not even get that far back, maybe just come to this, maybe 27-ish, and then the true breakout happens. It may need some more time, but I love the way that this one looks. It's in the right sector, so really nice here. Select quote. Yeah, this is a watch list, so it doesn't mean that everything is going to be actionable this second. Amazon. We've talked about Amazon before, and it just keeps faking and shaking and doing what it wants to do. But now it's starting to, okay, we're getting really tight here. I mean, could I redraw the line and do that? I guess we could, do something like this, and we're still within this area. Kind of, you could probably pull this down here. I guess that's also a valid line right there. All that being said, we're getting tight. It's going to have to make a decision really, really, really soon. And I think the next move is going to be a pretty big one. The prior uptrend went from 1,600 to 3,500, so there was a double since March in the last year. It doubled, and then it moved sideways, consolidating that double. So it's working it out through time right now, and I think that the likelihood of this going higher is good. So that's what I think about Amazon. Floor and Decor, FND. So nice big uptrend. Now it has this kind of maybe inverse head and shoulder look to it. Earnings very soon, so just watch for that. This may be one of those things where if it pops on earnings, you may try to play the breakout. I love how it's kind of holding that $100 level. And that's where I think that risk can be managed at right around that $100 level. DraftKings, DKNG. Again, it's nice uptrend, and it's kind of, it's a very wide range, obviously, and so I wouldn't call that a range, but it's making higher lows, significant, these are significant lows here. And so, even if it pulls back a little bit more, or maybe this is a significant higher low, I think you could play the breakout here. Just be aware, earnings is coming up soon. Are coming up soon. Next up is going to be Roku. Roku has been amazing. I mean, it went from $62 back a year ago. Now it's $467. So it's already made a pretty big move. And earnings is out of the way, which is really nice. And it's just kind of consolidating sideways now. And that's its MO, right? It moves up, then goes sideways. Moves up, and then it kind of retraces and goes sideways. Moves up, sideways, and rinse and repeat. So it looks like it's in that sideways move now. So it's definitely a place right around here where you can manage risk against. mRNA, Moderna. This is one that shook me out back in here, unfortunately, but it has made this kind of a deep cup trying to make this handle. Lower volume definitely in the handle, so that's all amazing. Earnings really, really soon, so definitely watch that. But I think Moderna has a lot of potential, and hey, maybe they'll turn a profit. So maybe they'll surprise to the upside. Very possible. All right, that's mRNA. Farfetch. We had these big ups, sideways consolidation, another big up. Now it's starting to move higher, but earnings are coming up. So it's just, this would be in a viable range, really. But because of earnings, I would have to hold off on this, see what earnings does, and then go from there. So this week, just watch that. Would love to see, if I was going to play this one, it would be maybe some kind of gap down on earnings, and then you see the buyer step in and push it higher. That would be awesome, especially in the $66, $67 area, even $68 area. A gap down to $68, then the buyer stepping in, holding this area, that would be primo. CHX, Champion Corporation. So this is one I was in earlier, no longer holding this one, but it had this nice move up, and now it kind of retested. Now it's coming back. There's kind of like a cup and handle look to it, but you have earnings coming up. Also, volume profile is just okay. So we'll see what that does on earnings this week. Again, this is on the 23rd, so 2 more days. Next up is Upstart, UPST. It's a newer IPO. This is what Brian Shannon and I think Ben also talked about, like the VWAP handoff, right? So you go from one to the other to the other. I could probably draw a VWAP right here. I bet you that would be significant. Yeah. See how that's significant? Then this would be another significant area. Anyway, with all that being said, this looks like a pretty good spot to manage risk against. It came back. It's retesting. I'm just going to delete these VWAPs. It's come back. It retested. It kind of held. It was a nice 9%. So if we could come back maybe and just move sideways here, maybe this is in a range, let the 23-day catch up a little bit, that would be pretty strong. We got a while until earnings, so that's good too. But yeah, this one just needs to consolidate just a little bit. Looks pretty good. This is Fortress Transportation, kind of a reopening play. But I really do like how much volume is coming in here. That was a 15% day, and it kind of pulled back on lighter volume, right? And then it's kind of going back up. We do have earnings coming up very soon, but this one looks pretty good. Again, great accumulation volume coming in here. This is Will Scott Mobile. This is also more of a reopening play, and it is, just again stair-stepping higher. Nothing negative about this. Once it broke out here back in November, it has done nothing wrong. It pulled back a few times into the 23-day. Here, the 65-day held very nicely. Volume was fine. Earnings coming up soon. Bandwidth Corporation. Beautiful look to this one. This is like one that really catches my attention. A lot of wicks here on the top end. So I'm not going to jump the gun on this one, and earnings are coming up. But this looks really, really strong right here. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Again, know your earnings dates. MXL, Max Linear. So this is just a very long-term chart. This was back in, let's see, when was this? 2017 area, right? So back in 2017, it created this gigantic base. Now it's trying to, came back, retested the area. I could probably even make this bigger because it's a big base, right? Retested, and now it's trying to move higher. A lot of volume coming in recently on the breakout, then kind of went sideways and pulled back just a little bit, and now more volume coming in. So it looks pretty good. We got a while till earnings. Not bad. Okta, which I haven't put on one of these videos in a long time. It just keeps stair-stepping higher. Just move this right here, and this is the area that I'm watching. It has earnings coming up, so just be aware of that. But not bad. It may need a little bit more time, but it's looking pretty good so far. Again, earnings not till March 3rd, so you got a couple weeks if this is when it starts to move from here. So it looks good. Vive, again, another one that I haven't seen in a while, but it has this cup and handle look to it, right? Kind of cup right here. Here's your little handle. This is your neckline. So we'll call it a high handle. This may need to just consolidate back into these moving averages a little bit on lower volume. That would be amazing. Earnings coming up. So again, maybe a little too close for me to even start a position, but I do like the look of this. And after earnings, if this acts right, breaks out, whatever, a nice place to manage risk. CrowdStrike. Just kind of doing this thing, consolidating, breaking out, retested real quick, and trying to move higher. You got about a month until earnings, so that's a good bit of time, and not too extended from the 23 days, so looks good. Again, I can manage risk against 226. That's right where this prior resistance was, also where the 23-day is, so I like that confluence of things going on there. NVIDIA. With Bitcoin doing what it's doing, chances are people are buying mining rigs, and there's probably more of a demand for NVIDIA's chips. And all in all, there is a shortage of microchips. So I think that bodes well for chips in general. And NVIDIA has this nice looking, fairly tight consolidation in here for the price of the stock. Earnings coming up real soon, right? That's the 24th, so that's a few days away. But if it can hold above, this area right here, even 575, pull back into 575 where the 23-day is, that would be a perfect place to manage risk. So again, earnings coming up soon, but again, these are setups looking into this week just to follow. The Real, one I've mentioned before. I've never been involved in this one actually. Amazing amount of volume coming in here, right? Had earnings already on the 19th. That looks good. So now it's just, okay, let's wait for the breakout. There's a lot of wicks up here, so we'll see what happens as far as that goes. But if price gets above 29.50, I think that could be a nice spot. It is extended though. That's the only thing, right? So what I want to see, maybe a kind of a VCP. Pull back one more time, maybe two more times, let these moving averages catch up, and then the breakout. That would be a much stronger breakout and one that I would trust a lot more. Next one, InMode, INMD. This is one that I've been watching for a little bit now. This was the area that looked important to me. Kind of broke out, came back, touched it, and now it's moving higher. But we have this nice consolidation going on. Also, earnings are out of the way. Really like that. So if we can get maybe a little pullback right into the 23-day, maybe even around $66, even if it doesn't touch it. Good amount of buying going on recently as it broke out, so I really do like that a lot. So InMode looks pretty good again, especially if you get some low volume pullback right here. Would love that. And CLH, Clean Harbors. This is another good one. It has earnings very soon. But look at this tight consolidation here, and just totally fell apart with the market. And now it's made its way back up. So I don't know what's going to happen here. And earnings are coming up. So this would be a very speculative play in general. But if after earnings it can get above 88.50, that'd be all-time highs, I believe. And that would be the place where a position could potentially be started. So that's Clean Harbors. And again, it's more of a speculative play. Lower float type of stock too. So just be aware of that. All right, so there you go. 22 watch list names. I also have 2 potential short squeezes. We've talked about these before. They haven't moved yet, so they're still on the watch list because why would we get rid of them? They haven't done anything wrong. This Arch Resources, looks really, really good. Earnings are out of the way. It's consolidating. Natural resource companies are doing really, really well recently, and this one may pull a sympathy bid and start to move again. Pretty good amount of short interest and days to cover on this one. Also, Love, I am in this one, and it broke out, then it's moving sideways in a pretty tight range. We have some time until earnings, and I like this one a lot. It's holding up great, good accumulation going on there. We'd love to see this break out and start the next move higher. And again, it's got about 5%, 5 or 6 days to cover, and almost 20% short interest, if I remember right. All right, so there you go. 22 watch list names, 2 short squeeze potentials for this week. The market looks fine. There's no signs of stress yet in the market that I can see. So I hope you all have a good week. Stay safe out there and take care.